I'm that dude, bet I see you from the top, yeah, real soon. Looking down on the haters that I've been through. Told them I'll see you later, yeah, big truth. I keep a real good pace, built a big house, damn, look at that place. Up in my mind, cause that's my space. House so big, full of positive things. And I can't be shook, cause I ain't no rook, man, I wrote the book.
Woo! No! What's up, baby? What's up, baby? What's up? Hit them with the bear claw. Welcome to another edition of the Monsters of the Gridiron. Man, David, tell me, after that impressive 36-10 win over the Carolina Panthers, how are you feeling on this victorious Monday?
I am feeling solid. Like I said on the last podcast, I said I was not going to accept anything other than a blowout. The good teams blow out bad teams, and we didn't need a nail biter. We didn't need to come down to a field goal. We didn't need to come down to a defensive stop. Anything. I mean, it wasn't over by halftime, but we were feeling good. We were feeling great, and we just kept it going. Sammo, Walt, what's up?
What's up, guys?
We kept it going and the whole game, and we dominated in every phase of the game. So I loved it. Good stuff.
I'm gonna be honest though. I don't know about you guys, but when it was 14-7, I think we had a 4th and 1 with Roschon Johnson, and I'm we gotta get those conversions, because when you play the Jacksonvilles and when you play the team that can put up 34 points and 41 points, you don't want to leave those type of opportunities out there on the field, because if we convert that, we go down and score a touchdown, guys. So I don't understand why we don't use Caleb's athleticism in those moments to let him put the in and or outside linebacker in a compromised position to get outside, either with his speed or use a sprint out with like J.R. Everett, or even hitting DeAndre Swift, because I think he was in the backfield with Roschon, but he motioned out. But I'm like, I think that's like the 3rd time this year so far that we've tried that formation and that play has failed. And I just want to see us convert that, because, hey, guys, the NFC North, it's the number 1 in division in the NFL right now. So I don't want to leave. I want to have all the kinks worked out by the time we play Detroit, by the time we play Minnesota, by the time we play Green Bay, by the time, look, the back end of our schedule as we see now, guys, it's going to be extremely difficult to just go in and I think we're still going to compete at a high level. But we got Seattle, we got San Francisco, in addition to 6 division games. That's 8 games right there. If we go 4-4 and continue to handle business with all the outside teams, hey, I see us still looking at 11-6, 10-7, somewhere around there. What you say, Sammo?
Like y'all said, man, it's the win we were supposed to win. It's a game we were supposed to win, man, and we blew them out the way that we supposed to. Just keeping it in perspective, Caleb played a pretty damn good game against a bad defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to call it what it is. We're going to call it what it is. Against a bad defense, he did what he was supposed to do against a bad defense. He matured. I think the offense looked really good. The play calling was good, other than, like you said, the 4th and 1. I thought coaching was pretty much solid this game, and that's what I look for in games like this. The games that you're supposed to win, that we blew them out. The defense was supposed to play great. The offense was supposed to play great. They did. That's great. Now look at the coaching and see if the coaching did what it was supposed to do. Other than that bad play call there and going for 2 in a meaningless situation that I don't know what drove Fluke to say, let's go for 2 after a fight, after an all-out brawl. But other than those 2 situations, I thought coaching was great. Coaching was great other than those 2 situations. So, hey, I think it's momentum going into Washington, London, going out there, and we can go beat up on another bad team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then we get a bye week to come back home and prepare for a little bit more competitive schedule following the bye week. Like you said, it starts to get extremely competitive as the season goes on too. So it's good that we're starting to hit our stride now. The offense has picked up some momentum. They've seen some positive plays. DeAndre Swift, man, I'm so glad that he's got it going. I think it seems like he's the catalyst to this offense right now. And just getting that running game going, and it kind of opens up everything. Caleb seems to be recognizing the blitz a lot more. Has a lot more command of the offense. I hear him changing plays and all of that good stuff, and getting them into the right place. So that's what you want to see right now against the bad teams. So when we get to the good teams, that we're ready, man. So, hey, it's good to see. Like, putting up 30 points is not easy in the NFL against a good or bad team. So salute to the Bears. And, man, on a Victory Monday, I'll take it.
Walt, talk to us, Walt. Come on. What you thinking, Walt?
Yeah, I mean, guys, it was a great game to watch. It was a little shaky at first. We were talking about it in the group chat there for a little while, but they ended up coming around. There was a couple of interesting decisions, like you said, Samo. The 4th and 1 rush for Roshan Johnson, the 2-point conversion attempt. I mean, I don't know why you do that, but I guess there's some logic to it. You're already ahead by 20-something odd points at that time.
20-something points, yeah. I would really want to know. I was hoping someone would ask him why he decided to go for 2, especially after the fight, man. Especially after the fight, tempers are flaring. Guys are getting kicked out of the game. You don't want to put your quarterback in harm's way at that point in time. I would think not. Get your quarterback off the field, go kick the field goal, and, let's get out of this game. Because these guys are pissed because we just kicked their asses. So let's just get out of this game and keep everybody healthy at this point in time. So that was a head scratcher, but Fluke is good for those.
Yeah, I love to see that type of fire on the field. I want us to be like Bill Belichick of old with the Patriots. Boy, he would have ran that thing up to 55 on him. Like he would always say, hey, the defense get paid too. So when you got J.C. Horn coming out telling DJ Moore you going to prison, you next. After what he did to T. Higgins and with the Bengals. Like, I'm all about making a statement the way we made a statement. I do feel like these 2 touchdowns on the field that we could have gotten. I know on that quick slant, Caleb threw it behind. He threw it behind DJ Moore because he had him, but we got a field goal out of it. But I'm just saying, just to see when you got the offense with that level of confidence and operating at the level that it's operating right now. Like, you want to keep that going because now we'll know in those type of situations what plays will work and what plays won't. What plays Caleb feel comfortable working? What plays does the line feel comfortable together? With the tight ends, whether we're in 12 personnel, big personnel. I like how they bring Kramer in now as a fullback, like going downhill. Bill Murray, he played well. Like, I saw one play, he took out 3 people. We've never seen that from one of our offensive linemen where, okay, I got this work. I took care of this work. Let me go find some more work. And I was like, okay, Bill Murray, this gave me some Ghostbuster thing when I saw Murray going from the center to the guard to the tap, just pushing them down, mauling them. That's what we need throughout the trenches, guys. And I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I love Tevin Jenkins, but you can't make the club and sustain the club if you're in the tub. I hate to say it. I don't see it, guys. Hopefully I got my Ray Charles glasses on because right now I don't see no extension coming. I hope I'm wrong, unless it's a team-friendly deal. But we need you healthy. We need you healthy, guy. We need you healthy.
Yeah. That one play you were talking about, 4th down, and it seems like we're telegraphing what we're going to do when we bring in this jumbo package. Like, the moment they bring in Kramer, it's like, okay, we're going to run the ball. My thing is, we've got to be smarter than that down the line when we run into the same situation where in the jumbo package, we got Roshan back there and it's a play fake. And it's a play fake to Roshan to like Mercedes Lewis or somebody or a blocking tight end chips and becomes free, and we pick up that 1st down or that easy touchdown. We've got to mix it up because everybody knew that was going to be a run play. They stacked the line, and they stuffed us. And fortunately, it wasn't a close game. But that's the kind of stuff that we can't do down the line, especially at the 40, because that was almost at midfield. So I was kind of bothered by that. So I hope Waldron learns from that and goes up, to where, preferably with as comfortable as he is and that quick release, I want the ball in Caleb's hands. I want the ball. I don't feel the need to where we're, first and goal at the 3, that it has to be 3 run plays. I trust Caleb in that proximity for a quick strike, quick, easy pass. He is so ridiculously accurate. Again, and I'll say it again, he was the most accurate quarterback in the NCAA in the red zone with the least amount of interceptions throughout his career. I think he only threw 1 pick in the red zone throughout his collegiate career. Let him throw the ball. So I think we just need to be a little bit more, original and not just, ground and pound all the time. There's a place for that. I like how we're running the ball. I like how DeAndre Swift is not dancing anymore and hitting the hole and falling for 4 to 5 yards. That's what we need. Run the ball. And if you look at that, back-to-back games, we've effectively run the ball. And what happened? It opens up the intermediate pass and the downfield passing because they're not stacking the box anymore. So I'm loving it. I really like what I'm seeing. I hope we build off this momentum and take it to London.
Well, and what you just said earlier too, like I trust Caleb in the red zone. I trust him to make the right read, to make the right decision, and like he's a natural thrower of the football. Like I watched every throw because I'm like, man, like his quickness, his release. At the end of the day, like I'm gonna be honest. So far from what I've seen, he's going to be not only the best quarterback in Bears history, he might end up giving Mahomes and Brady a run for their money. Because once that line is solidified, guys, with the weapons he has, and every year we just going to keep building on that, like his confidence, as you all can see, it's there. And when I watch the ball jump off his hand, man, like it's electrifying. And he puts it in the spot where if you catch it, you can get some yak. It's not behind in most cases. Like those 2 touchdowns to DJ Moore, he put them in perfect spots where DJ could run after the catch and got a touchdown. Same thing with Keenan when he hit him. Same thing with Rome. Every time I was watching pinpoint when he was hitting guys in stride, you could go get yak. So at this point, I trust Caleb to make the best decision, to take care of the ball, and he will throw it out of bounds, So let's put him in a situation now though where he can use his athleticism though, because I'm telling you, if we do more of that, especially in short yardage, man, and we're like you said, David, it's not predictable when you bring it in the jumbo package, and that automatically telegrams that we're going to run the ball. Let Caleb get out there because. One thing about Caleb I noticed, he's always looking to throw first anyway. So I think he's going to make the right decision if he's in a one-on-one with the end, with the outside linebacker, to either drop it off to the back and drop it off to his safety by the tight end. Because one thing he's doing that I didn't see Justin do or Trubisky do early on, and they said this was his weakness, was that his short game, because he always wanted to make the big play because he's a big game hunter, that his short game lacked. Well, his short game has been spot on. He's taking what the defense gives him, and we're moving the chain. We're staying ahead of the chain. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. I hope we take this momentum into London, and after that we come back. We got a bye week, and then we got the Cardinals, we got the Patriots, we got the Commanders. Hey guys, we should go into Green Bay. I don't know whether we play them in Chicago or Green. Well, we play them in Chicago, I think. We should be 7-2, guys. I'm talking about riding a high, and I'm talking about ready to punch somebody in their mouth. So, what are some of the things you've seen? But before we go into that, Walt, let everybody know who the player of the game is. We know who it is, but let's let the people know who the player of the game is.
Well, you know what? I'm going to put it into just one person here, and that's Caleb Williams.
Look at average yards per completion, guys.
Yeah. Is 15.2. Every receiver he threw to on Sunday was double digits in terms of their average yards per completion, except Rome Odunze. He was at 8 though. So if you want to round up and be technical, he did good as well. But DJ Moore, over 100 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Komet got into the action. Swift, Odunze, Allen, Everett. You're spreading the ball around. And like Leo Factor here brought up a good point. This Caleb shows no fear of panic in the pocket, even when he's about to get hit. And that's something we saw Justin lacking, even last night in Pittsburgh. It's just when that pocket collapses, he runs away, or he tries to run away.
Well, you already know Justin gonna be 88 out the gate, baby. So he see them guards and them tackles collapsing in, he looking for an alley.
Right. Yeah. But still, Justin put them in position to win that game yesterday. Now we're gonna keep it real with Justin. Justin Fields, we ain't gonna stump on Justin right now, man. The man is he's playing a lot better. He's playing a lot better ball with less talent, with a lot less talent on offensive line and as wide receivers. But like you said, Caleb, he's just extremely cool, man. That's the difference. Like he has the nerves. He doesn't get nervous. Like when he said that in the on Hard Knocks that he doesn't get nervous. You don't see him get nervous within the play, I guess that's what he means. Like to your point, Walt, like pressure is on him. Like, he got pressure coming from the left and up the middle. He rolls out, allows his offensive lineman to get a block. He still looks downfield though. He's not looking to get out and get those yards with his feet. He's looking to get the pass and, get it to one of his wide receivers, hoping someone breaks open, man. That's the difference between him and Justin. I don't think Justin has developed that yet in his game to keep your eyes downfield. Like that's what's impressive with Caleb. It's just, and then the arm angles and the quick release just makes it so much better. Like that one screen where he flicked it sidearm, like that was ridiculous, man. That was ridiculous, and we got a lot of yards out of that. So, but man, like I said, the most impressive thing about that, no interceptions. Caleb has been playing error-free football. I'll call it error-free football. That's what I'll call it, error-free football. He hasn't put us in bad situations. That's another thing that you can say about Justin Fields, where he'll try to make a play and he'll make a bad situation worse by making a turnover. So I think that's more the difference to me between the two. And he only got sacked once in this game, man. That was also impressive. That was kudos to the offensive line. I thought they played their best game. Will, you just talked about Bill Murray. I thought Bill Murray was the best offensive lineman I saw out there. And that's why we've been talking about, Walt. We've been screaming for them to make a change. Allow some of these other guys to see what you have. Allow some of these other guys to get on the field to see what you have. Bill Murray looked like a dog out there. Like you said, you see this dude knocking guys. He's helping the center. Boom, knocking this guy. Turns around, helps Braxton get his guy on the ground. Braxton allows the guy to get back up and go make the
right. Like, get all the work. All you got to do is lay.
Just did all the work. You got to just dive on him at that point. Braxton, dive and lay on that man. You keep that man down. After Murray did that, he did. Hey, that dude looks like a monster out there. I love the way that he plays the game, offensive line. But overall, I thought they had a pretty decent game, man. It wasn't flawless. We all know that. We saw, but they had a pretty damn good game, man. It's something to build on. They go watch that tape, and get happy. And I think it's because we're running the ball more too, man. That's part of it, man. Like they're running the ball, so now they're protecting a little bit better. It's not obvious when they're running, except when you bring in the jumbo pack, like you all say. It's time to, develop an RPO or something off of that, so we can just, put the ball in Caleb's hand and allow him to make the decision if we're going to run or if we're going to pass it at that point in time.
Yeah. And the one major play, we were talking about his instincts and his ability to maneuver. I mean, he didn't make the pass. He ended up throwing it away, but there was that long scramble play near the end. It was always down here. We're going down the field. We're never looking to go to the side or around. He tried to get the pass off, where other guys, they may have just taken off and gotten, 5 yards. Both are good, but you want to see the former over the latter.
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely do. And we're happy with what we got in Caleb, man. I think he's going to be a great quarterback in this league. I think, man, if we saw what he can do with protection. That's what we saw.
And I think, the Chai in the chat, hit a point that I was talking to Will offline about is I think if we put together a good string of wins here, and we're around that 7-2, 6-3 mark, I think we're going to be buyers at the trading deadline, and I think it will be for interior offensive line help. Tevin Jenkins just can't stay on the field. I mean, it's his back, his ribs, his knee, his ankle now. I got nothing but respect for him, but the dude just is just, I don't know, man. He's just breaking down. I don't know. His body is just not cooperating with him. So, Billy Ocean too, I think will be players for interior linemen, guard specifically, and I would look at teams like Cleveland, teams that are out of it. Cleveland that's going to be in cap hell. They got some nice offensive linemen, and I think we need to look at some plugging up some run stuffers in the middle, because one of the bothering me is, even though the defense is pretty stout, we are giving up way too much yardage to these running backs on first, second down. I mean, they're getting 4.5, 5.5 yards a carry on us on the first, with Kyron Williams last week, and then the kid yesterday, Chuba Hubbard. I mean, what are we going to do when we're going up against Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones and all that? We cannot allow these teams to establish the run on us like that, because we're going to get eaten alive by these elite quarterbacks and they're, Jared Goffs and Jordan Loves and all that. We have got to stop the run. We have got to stop the run. I think that we're going to be, listen, I don't have a problem with Dexter. I think Dexter is one of the best interior defensive tackles in the league right now, but it's more of he's getting to the quarterback rather than stopping the run. And it seems to me like Zach Pickens he's on the ineligible list, or not playing every week. Just, he's not active. And we need help. Billings is great, but we need more than Billings. We need another guy. We need, dare I say, I'm going to show my age here. We need like a Keith Traylor, Ted Washington.
They don't know about that, David. You aging yourself right now. These young guys don't know about those.
That's what we need. That's what we need right now is we need a big 360-pound nose tackle that stands up and blocks the run. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Allow the running backs to just go make the plays too. Like, it's so crazy.
I think that was the purpose of bringing Andrew Billings in to begin with, was to fill that role.
Yep.
Right. But we were talking about guard positions, Tevin Jenkins. I still have faith in the guy. I think the team has lost faith in Nate Davis. He'll probably won't be here next year. Yeah, so you have to question now, what do you do with Tevin Jenkins? What do you do with Bill Murray? Do you wait it out, and instead of wasting a draft pick or capital to get in, who knows what you're going to get in the trade market right now, because we don't know who's available, if anyone's available at the moment.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, as far as the draft next year, with the exception of that running back from Boise State, like, every pick should be in the trenches. I'm talking about guard, center, hell, even a tackle. Because, like, I'm not sold on Braxton. I like Braxton, but I think he's really more of a. He was getting bull rushed some in the game against Carolina. Those are backups. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting here like, for us to go deep in the playoffs, do you trust Braxton to block Bosa? Hell no, I don't. Like Caleb would get decapitated against Bosa. You know what I'm saying? We saw what happened against Houston with the Danielle Hunter and Will. So, at the end of the day, we got to get someone with an anchor on that left side. And I've been looking at different tackles in college, which, again, if we can get some good solid tackles, one solid tackle, because we got Darnell Wright out of college, that's good, because we'll have them locked in for 4 years, maybe 5, depending if we get them in the first round, and we'll have them at that rookie value versus going out here paying $100 million for, and I don't even think it's any good available left tackles coming, via free agency. But yeah, once we solidify this line, I'm telling you guys, and we probably need to get one more wide receiver, because I'm still waiting to see how things gonna turn out with Keenan. But I just don't see him getting no large extension because, again,
way.
health, age, production. I would have thought Tyler Scott would be getting more reps, but, clearly something's not clicking in practice where he could get on the field, and take advantage of his speed. But I think we're set up with draft capital and free agency money. Like you said earlier, Walt, I think everybody, front office, coaches, and players have lost trust in Nate Davis. Tevin can't stay healthy. So unless that's a team-friendly deal, it's not going to be a break-the-bank type contract for Tevin. And, of course, at center, we got to find somebody that can grow with Caleb. And the offense is complete. But like you said about the defense, we got to get another – man, it would have been nice to get T'Vondre Sweat this past draft because he's a space eater and he can penetrate and get sacks too. So that's the only flaw I see on the defensive side is defensive interior help because Williams, I saw him more on the ground than, number 91 as far as getting penetration. So if we'll be buyers, like David said, at the trade line, but it's like I know Cleveland might look to ship Myles Garrett. I'm hearing that.
I was thinking about that last night.
As far as defense, Hassan Reddick is still out there, but so far on the edge, we're holding up pretty well. It's more of the defensive interior outside of Gervon Dexter because he's excellent rushing the passer, but it's just like, again, we're letting mediocre backs, get over 100 yards against us, and Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs. We don't want them to get that type of momentum because then they can control the clock. They can keep our offense off the field, wear our defense down. So I think as long as we keep this balance going, man, we're gonna be a threat, guys. We like buckle up. We're going to be a threat.
Myles Garrett would cost too much. I mean, let's be real.
Way too much. Way too much.
He would. I mean, I'm not even worried about that. I don't, with contracts, whatever. You make that work, but he would cost 2 firsts. Yeah. He would cost. I mean, that's a guy that's still in his prime. There's no way I'd see us being in on that, unless you already told me we had a perfect offensive line. It's not a again. See the edge as our number one priority right now. Yeah, we could use another one, but if we're gonna go ham and push our chips in the middle of the table, it's gonna be on an elite offensive lineman. It's gonna be on something like that, a position of vital importance to Caleb and his development and his protection, and that's not defensive end. And so I would say that, the Keenan Allen thing, I wouldn't be surprised if that's why I'm rooting for the Saints tonight. I want to see Kansas City kind of struggle the next couple weeks to score and say, what do you give us for Keenan Allen? You got a couple offensive linemen you don't like, use that, Ryan Poles uses connections over there, kind of swing a sweet deal. That's what I'm looking at. Offensive linemen all day.
Yep. I think we need 4 offensive linemen at that. I think we can change out the 4 next to Darnell Wright. You can change those guys out, to be honest, man. I like Bill Murray. I want to see more of him. And maybe we have a guy in Bill Murray. We don't know that because we're not willing to make changes. We're not willing to make changes, but we know Nate Davis isn't it. Tevin Jenkins, we can't trust them to stay healthy. No. And that's just what it boils down to. So it ruins the continuity of the offensive line with him going in and out all the time. Pryor he's a good backup, but he's not a starter. I think he's a really good backup. He's not very athletic. He's just big and strong. And he plays his part extremely well, but he's not a guy that I will rely on. We know our center is a turnstile right now. And Braxton Jones, man, and I was a defender of Braxton Jones for so long, but man, it just seems like he's not doing well against this bull rush still, man. And he's so inconsistent in everything else that he does. Even he's getting beat off with speed rushes as well. So it's just like, come on, you have to be good at something. We can't have you now allowing guys to speed by you, and you're having issues with the bull rush. Like, we can't. That's just not good for protecting the blind side of your quarterback. So, Braxton, he can go as well. So I think, like you said, go ahead, talk to all these teams who are going to be out. Jacksonville being one of them. After we beat them, they're going to have a fire sale as well, I'm hearing. So, hey, let's look to try to build this offensive line and see what we can do to protect our quarterback this year. And, maybe we get some guys that we can keep the next few years. And, then once we get to the draft, we can look at other positions as well, because we still need a younger edge. We still need that defensive interior tackle as well. So, hey.
Yeah.
Philip,
David, I know you said you're going to run, so.
Yep. Bounce, but great victory. Great show, showing out, coming out party for Caleb. He showed what he's capable of, getting better and better every week. And what I was with is because is this national narrative about Jane Daniels and Caleb and you know what? Both of them can be good.
Thank you.
Both of them can be good.
Both of them are.
It doesn't have to be we made a mistake, they made a mistake. He is working for them. And you know what? Caleb is working for us. And they can coexist in the league at the same time, believe it or not. So I'm not hating on Jane Daniels. I have no regrets, but I'm over this whole narrative that the Bears are regretting. No, we're not. No, we're not. So with that, bear down. Let's go get Jacksonville. Let's kick their ass. Let's punch them in the mouth. Keep it going. Keep running the ball. Keep intermediate passing game going. Protect Caleb, and let's go get this dub. Till I talk to you guys later. Go Bears.
Bear down.
And to piggyback on what David just said, hey, two things can be true at the same time. And we got Caleb, they got Jaden. I think the league moving forward is going to be in good hands because those are two remarkable talents and they're in the right location. We already know national media is talking about it because they got to have something to keep the masses engaged. I laughed when I saw Chris Canty, what he said. It was comical because, it's like when I listen to these guys talk and I look at what they talk about on a day-to-day, it's like they be pulling for straws to get people to engage. And I'm sitting here like, man, it's crazy that now you saying, oh, check on your Bear friends, and I hate how Chicago draft and how they develop quarterback. And okay, you might have some sense of truth to that in the past, but now, I think we have our guy. All the shiny pieces, guys, is great with the skill set players. But as we know, if the line is tight, hell, we could go out there and play wide receiver and tight end if he got time to go through his progressions and make things happen. So I think we got the right guy. I think moving forward.
I think we might have lost Will for a sec.
He froze. All right. But yeah, I'm with you, Billy Ocean. Chris Canty is lame. That dude doesn't do any research. He just likes to talk and come out with these clickbait takes. That's what he does, man. He just wants people to talk about him and what he said. So I'm not going to even entertain anything else Chris Canty says because he said he's had a lot of terrible takes about the Bears the past 2 years. So forget that guy. But man, like Will was saying, Caleb is a guy and Jaden Daniels is a guy. They're both going to be really good quarterbacks in this league for a long period of time. I think we see that Caleb is starting to turn it on. The difference between the two is just like I said, development plans. The development plan for Caleb was different than the development plan for Jaden Daniels. Caleb was asked to do a little bit more and to learn everything. He was learning to do everything at once. Washington took some of the things off of the plate of Jaden Daniels, which allowed him to have early success. Now, I'm not going to say that's right or wrong, but I thought that was a great thing that they did for him, and he should be shining in that situation. Man, he's starting to pick up and do more and more each week as Caleb is starting to get everything underway as well. So, I think these are both going to be two good quarterbacks in the league for a long period of time, both in the NFC. So we're going to be fighting to get to the Super Bowl. They won't face each other in the Super Bowl, but they'll be fighting to get to the Super Bowl. Yeah. So, hey, I think they're both competitors. They both were Heisman Trophy winners. These guys are going to compete with each other like crazy for the next 20 years. So I think that's a good thing. I'm happy for both of them. Like I said, I like Jaden Daniels and I like Caleb Williams a lot too. So, hey, both guys are going to be good, and that's that. Let's just leave it at that. I think we'll have the better team, though, the overall team around Caleb Williams. Our defense right now, we got a championship caliber defense. I've been calling them a playoff caliber defense, but with a lead, if they're playing with a lead, they're a championship caliber defense at that point in time. If we can play in games when our offense can score points, we play with a lead and they can pin their ears back and go after the quarterback, and our back seven can, go after these passes, tip balls and all of that stuff, man. We have a championship caliber defense right now, and we just need our offense to catch up quickly, So, hey, this team has a bright future. That's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like you were saying with the defense, I think we're 8th now overall in points against in the entire NFL, with 85 as the end of yesterday.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's no stopping us there, and the offense is finally coming along. And I think we're going to be good to go. And I think we can go by what the title of the tonight's show was, that yesterday's game, it was no fluke.
No.
I think it was just a slow burn developmental period, like you said. And now we're finally seeing the fruits of the labor.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then the players had their meeting too. Like we talked about it, Walt, when we had, I think our last, when they were going through their struggles. It was about accountability, man. It was accountability for the coaches and the players. And now that they've met in the middle and now they're having those conversations, they're holding each other accountable. This is the result of that, man. And if they continue to do that, they're only going to get better and better each week, man. That's what I'm happy about. I just want to see them continue to get better each week. We saw them get better from last week to this week. If that continues, man, we continue to stack good weeks, man, and start beating teams and get on a roll and figure out what Caleb is good at and what the rest of this team is good at, man, we're just going to be hitting the ground running when we get to the meat of the season, to those tough games against the division. And that's what I want, man. We didn't have to start fast. We wanted to start fast. We didn't have to start as fast as we needed to, but I'm liking where we're going right now. The direction that we're going, the arrow is pointing up. And that's all you can ask for.
And you know what, guys? The thing I like about this the most is that even though it's Victory Monday, we expected what happened yesterday to happen. So it's like today we're not surprised. Like normally against poor competition, like last year, we beat the Panthers 16-13. We should have dominated them even though they had Derrick Brown. The defense was good, but Brian Burns didn't play last year. So it's like today, it's like everybody I'm excited, but it's like that's what we expect. That's what, like Kansas City, we expect them to beat lesser competition. Mm-hmm. Baltimore, we expect them to beat like I want us in those conversations where when Monday come around, we already talking about Jacksonville, how the matchups, what we need to exploit, because we've already checked that one off, not dismissing them, because in the NFL, anything can happen. Let's be honest. Because Jacksonville beat the Colts, and I kind of figured that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. But the Colts had already beat us and beat the Steelers. So it's like when you look at that type of win for Jacksonville, they still got Trevor Lawrence back there. And this is a game where I see us getting 5 sacks, 6 sacks, 2-3 picks, and a fumble. Jacksonville, they got some good skill players now. Brian Thomas, we're not going to sleep on him.
That's some good receivers.
ETN, Tank Bigsby. I'm like, because Bigsby, I think he had a big game.
Davis. Yep.
Yeah, they got some dogs over there. So we're not going to dismiss, but their defense, as Bubba Dub would say, is trash. We can exploit that. They got one player on defense, realistically, guys. That's
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Josh
That's
Allen.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If we exploit that, guys, there's no reason why we shouldn't be coming up out of London victorious and going into the bye, getting ready. And then we might have to I'm gonna have to call Angel Reese and get her on the bird because she went to a Ravens game. They got a blowout. She came to our game. We got a blowout.
Yeah.
D Rose, we need D Rose. You know what I'm saying? We need a full assortment to bring that energy. You know what I'm saying? Because now I think we found that mojo, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I think we keep working on things that work that Caleb feels comfortable with. So when he's in those positions, when the game is not 36-10, but it's 36-33, and we either try to do a 4-minute drive or even if we behind, find out now what works. So we can implement that in the time of need.
One thing that looks like it's working is that up tempo, man, where they're just going tempo. They're going right back to the line of scrimmage. No huddle. That no huddle thing is working out for them well, man. And that's it's keeping defenses a little bit honest, man. It's restricting what defenses can do. That's what it's really doing. It's restricting what defenses can do against them in those situations, man. And it's giving us the advantage. And I'm glad that they're taking advantage where they can in those situations. So I like seeing that.
Well,
yeah, no, it was a nice change to see the upswing in tempo a bit. We weren't just sitting at the line waiting until the last second and kind of rushing around. It was a nice even flow throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
Guys, y'all doing a good job. I got to break out because I got to go to a quick event. Look, let's keep this momentum going. Walt, let's get something plugged in before well, we could do it the day of my birthday if you want to before I get up out of here.
What day is that?
October 10th, Thursday, my guy. Thursday.
I think we could do something then.
We'll do a Monsters of the Gridiron special before I get on that bird.
Well, for sure. We'll make it happen.
Let's make it happen. All right, my guys. Y'all, hey, keep the party going. I'm about to check out.
All right, bear down, baby.
Bear down.
Yeah, man, like you say, well, good win all around, man. Good win all around. Offense, defense, special teams. We missed the field goal. We missed the what was the extra point?
It was an extra point. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. You know, it's never perfect. That's what I always say. We can never have that perfect game. And I'm good with that because that means they're going to get back and then they're going to know they need to have other things they need to work on. The same thing with, us getting gashed in the running game and stuff like that. Like, that just keeps them honest in practice this week. So they don't think that, they've arrived. The coaches can have something to show them, like on tape. Like, look, we won, but this is not going to cut it. Next week, we're facing ETN. Like, this dude, he's a little bit faster. You give him these open lanes, he might take it to the house, hit his head on the goalpost from the 20-yard line for 80 yards. So, stuff like that. And man.
Yeah. Quickly though, I mean, we only really had that one really big play at the very beginning of the game. They kind of tightened up a little more in terms of their run defense.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the rest of it was grind. You're right. The rest of it was they were grinding. And it's about discipline too. We're a gap defense. So someone out of their gap at some point or got one of the defensive linemen, got their head on the wrong side of the offensive lineman or something happened. I didn't go back and watch that play, but yeah, somebody just didn't control their gap in that situation. And I think we've been pretty good, with our run defense throughout the year, all except for the Colts game, I want to say. But other than that, we've been pretty solid. So, and that's just because we played an amazing running back that day.
So what do you think about Leo's question here? He says, what do you guys think about not giving Herbert a single touch? I think it's silly. He has some juice. He can break tackles.
I think they're holding Herbert, man, as trade bait, man. To be honest, keeping Herbert healthy right now, keeping him safe from harm's way. They don't want to get him hurt. I think it's more so of that than anything else. I think that they know that what Herbert could do. If Swift were to go down, Herbert would be right in there with getting all the touches. But you paid a guy in DeAndre Swift, so of course he's going to get the majority of the touches. And then they drafted a guy in and Roshan Johnson, and he's been doing pretty damn good this year too, as far as pushing the pile, the same as he was last year. So I think those two guys are going to dominate the carries, but I think Khalil Herbert is also trade bait, man. I think they know what they have in them. Other teams know they don't want to get him hurt. So, maybe there's a team going to call for him. We also have Bayless, who hasn't touched the ball in this season as a running back. So, we have some guys that we could still utilize. I just think that they're trying to get their bearings, the offense down before they start implementing all these other pieces. And Herbert's not going to be here next year. You know that. You want to deal with the guys who are going to be here for the next couple of years.
So I'm just looking at some news right here. I guess Jaquan Brisker's not traveling with the team to London.
What happened? Why not? Is he hurt?
They're saying he's in listed as having a concussion right now.
Concussion protocol. That hit, man. I thought, man, he had to have a concussion after that hit. That was a hard hit, man. Goodness gracious. So he probably woke up with something. If you ever had a concussion, you can wake up with it the next day or go through it the entire night where your head is ringing, or you wake up the next day and, just seeing double vision and all type of different symptoms for a concussion. So he must have woke up with something. Like, man, he has to do better though, man, because he knows he's susceptible to those concussions now more so than ever. Once you have one concussion, your body is more prone to get another if you keep playing the same style of play, man. Like, you got to use your shoulders a little bit more, man, and take your head out of those plays. Like, we like the big hits, man, but you got to protect yourself. You want to play this game for a long time. Man, I just hope he gets healthy. Maybe he makes it down there later this week, hopefully. If not, that's why they got that insurance in Jonathan Owens. So I think we'll be fine, but it really sucks to hear that because he's been playing some good ball this past couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, unless he gets out of protocol like extremely quickly, like in the next day or two, he's probably not going to play at all. So I mean, there is an off chance that he can go, but I'm going to say you're probably going to see Jonathan Owens out there on Sunday, which I'm fine with. He's another good player.
Mm-hmm.
But
because you also have to consider the time difference too, because you getting him down there later in the week and his body not having the time to adjust to the time difference. So you're probably right. Well, he probably won't make it to London to play in this game, which sucks, man. Like I said, because the guys, he's had 2 pretty good weeks of football.
Yeah, no, he did good. He had that massive hit, which the Panthers player basically leaned into himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he did have that one issue later in the game. I forget what on the play was, but he came in for the tackle. Instead of just trying to wrap him up, he just kind of drove his shoulder into him, bounced off, and went off into nowhere. So,
Yeah, I was wondering after that hit. I'm looking at him like, man, you don't feel anything after that hit? Like, he popped back up. I was like, dude, you just laid this guy out. I think that guy was knocked out. Like his entire body went limp. If you watch that play, the guy who he hit, his entire body just went limp, and he just let the ball go. I'm just like, geez, that was a hit. That was one of those old school hits. I'm surprised he didn't get a flag or anything for that hit.
Well, I think they said they might fine him during the week for that hit too.
Yeah, he's probably going to get a fine. That was a hit, man. That was a 1995 hit right there. Like, that was a old school football hit. They don't allow that anymore, but man, he's one of those throwback players who could have played in that era. But man, I think he just has to be smarter though, and protect yourself and protect these other players, man. We don't need that. We don't need you to do it that way. Just get the guy down, get the ball out if you can, but protect yourself, man, especially in a contract year. Like, you're in a contract year. It's great to be able to play that style of football and get those big hits, but man, this is the effect of that. This is the result of, you going and trying to make those big hits and prevents you from playing in the next week. Like, that's just not smart. You know what I mean? Now we don't know when you'll be able to play again, or or if you'll be the same player immediately when you hit the field, or if it's going to take a few weeks for you to get your things together in your head. So, like, man, just protect yourself, big dog. We need you out there on the field. Like, you're making plays, but protect yourself. That's all.
Exactly. And people, we're on the defense here. I think Kevin Byard had a good day yesterday. He finally got that first interception we saw, which I didn't even think he caught it initially when I watched it. So like, it's an INT. I was like, okay.
Yep.
But, we got to talk about the development of Javon Dexter here, because he's been lights out recently over the last couple of games. And I know they tracked his one of his things that we talked about last year was he's really slow off the get off. He needs to work on that. So now when you're looking at defensive tackles as a whole, their average get off speed's around a second, usually 1.04, I think is what it is now. It may have changed after last night's game, but against the Panthers, Javon Dexter's get off was 0.96.
Wow. It's getting off a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yep. That along with his strength, man, and his size, his strength, and his length, man, just he's a matchup nightmare for guards, man. Like, that's what he needed to get. Once he got that get off and fix that leverage issue as well, But even when he plays with bad leverage, man, he still is winning because of his strength and his length. Like, he can have bad leverage sometimes. I've seen plays where he has the offensive guard, he's over the guard, and he's holding the guys. He's holding the guy, and he's standing up over him and still able to get around him just because he's extremely strong and extremely long, man. So the get off is what he was missing. Like, that get off is helping him a lot. Like, I'm glad to see him having some success, and he's out there finishing plays, and he has a lot of pressures too. He has a lot of pressures in the game. And
he had 5 yesterday alone.
Yeah. So he's becoming that dominant 3 tech that I didn't know that didn't feel like that he was going to become. To be honest, I didn't know that he was going to be able to put it all together. So kudos to him and the coaching that he's receiving from, I'm guessing, Eric Washington, man, because Eric Washington is getting the best out of him. He's helped him get that get off together. I see him using moves. I see that swim move. I see the cross chop out there. I see him out there using actual moves as well. He's not just trying to beat people with his pure strength and size all the time. And what he's extremely good on is the tight end, the TE stunts. He's really good with stunts, man. I don't know, because he moves extremely well. You can tell he was an ex-basketball player by the way he moves. Like, dude, it's so crazy. Him coming around guys and he just coming free. Like, man, like, yeah, he's going to be a good player for a long time for us. I'm happy to see him continue to develop. Like, he's probably the best defensive tackle in the league right now. What do you have? 4? What does he have? 4 sacks?
He's got 4 sacks now. He's up there.
5 games? Yeah, 4 sacks in 5 games. I have to check that out to see. I doubt that there's any other defensive tackle in the league that has 4 sacks at this point in a year. I know Jalen Carter doesn't have any. I seen Jalen Carter get a lot of pressure. I've seen him get a lot of pressure, but I haven't seen him get any sacks this year. So unless he got one this past week. But,
well, they had the bye week this week.
Oh, they had a bye, so then he doesn't have any right now. So the Bears were right. So they're just kudos to Ryan Poles, man, for passing on Carter and identifying a guy in Javon Dexter, who he was able to develop now.
Yeah, so PFF has him at 5 sacks, so you can take that and leave it as you will. But, the only guy above him is Dexter Lawrence from the Giants, who they credit him with 7.
7 sacks.
Yeah, no, like I said, this is PFF. They generally give you an extra sack here or there.
They giving them extra, They give you those extras. So that's why I go to ESPN and all that stuff. I thought Javon would get credited with another half sack yesterday too, but doesn't look like they did.
Yeah, so take that with a grain of salt. Then you have Zach Allen with 4, Kevin Givens with 4, Chris Jones with 4. And then it's down to guys like Kobe Turner and Brian Verise at 3. So he's definitely up there in terms of sacks from the defensive tackle position. And I had the the information somewhere. Unfortunately, I don't have it now of his actual positioning in terms of pressures amongst defensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was 6th coming into the game.
Damn, that's damn good, man. 6 in the entire NFL coming into the game. And he had, like you said, 5 pressures and a sack. He's risen in that on that list, I'm pretty sure.
And he had the fumble recovery too. So
Yep, fumble recovery. And that's just pure hustle, That's what Hicks does, That's him running to the ball and then, having the opportunity to land on that ball at that point and make that play at that point. So I wanted to bring that up too. Just that's what Hicks does, puts more Bears players at the ball in case there is a fumble like that. So that was good. A good heads up play from him.
And I was happy too that the Bears actually were so far ahead. They let some of their rookie or younger players and backups play on the defense. I mean, you kind of saw the difference in terms of their coverage, especially with Bryce Young coming in and just kind of bombing down the field.
Yep.
But we did see the first sack from Austin Booker last night.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was the same play, but there was one where you watch him just try to stutter around a guy. That doesn't work. Then he goes into a spin move.
Yep.
So, he's got a plan. And all we got to do is just give it a little more time to develop. And I think he's going to be crushing quarterbacks on the other side.
I agree. We have a really good young pass rusher in Austin Booker. He's only going to get better too. And he's hungry. That's the thing about it. He's hungry. He's anxious to get on the field. So hopefully he gets more playing time as the season goes on. But Walker's been playing pretty damn good too. Like Walker's been playing some good ball. Taylor's playing good ball. So that rotation, that defensive end, that 3-man rotation right now, they're playing pretty damn good, And it's hard for Austin to find some snaps, especially some meaningful snaps in these games. But I expect us to be up in a lot of these games, man, and for him to get more opportunities. So,
yeah, see, it's kind of tough with Walker because he's gotten a lot of pressures in terms of the team itself, but it just hasn't really translated into a whole lot.
Yeah, he's a pressure guy. He hasn't finished a lot of plays, but if you watch, man, he creates a lot of pressure plays for other guys. He does create a lot of plays for other guys. He's created a couple sacks for Javon, I think, in their stunts. He's created pressure plays for Taylor. I mean, a sack for Taylor in the game I saw. So he creates situations for other guys, but no, he doesn't finish plays. No, he's not a guy that's making plays and finishing plays right now at this point in time. But as the season goes on, who knows? Maybe he ends the season with 5 or 6 sacks. But right now, I think he's just a guy that's creating for other guys, using his speed and his strength. That's a guy that I would like to see get more reps at defensive tackle as well. Sometimes in obvious pass situations, get him and Javon Dexter next to each other.
That'd be nice. I mean, he's always been a decent run stopper too. So maybe if you need to switch out Billings, after that sack, or they let him just rerun in there and just bowl down the quarterback. I even told my wife it reminds me of, I don't know if you're an Office fan, but do you remember the Beach Day episode?
The Beach Day at the office,
the sumo wrestling, and Stanley's chasing Jim down the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh yeah, it's a good reference for sure.
So I can only imagine when a big boy like Billings is just coming through that open hole.
Hey, and he can move like Billings is one of the strongest players in the NFL as well too. Like I think he broken some records for weightlifting at Baylor. Like he holds a lot of like strong man records, like ridiculous, like squatting almost 1,000 pounds or something crazy like that. Man, I got to look it up again, but I remember reading this about his strength, man, how he was they used to call him John Henry because he was so strong. He was like an ox, strong as an ox out there. And man, he is moving now. I know they asked him to lose a little bit of weight, man. He looks a lot quicker this year. Mm-hmm. That one sack that he got, man, it was just like, it was just scary. I like the quarterback, if you thought you could get away from him, and he's this big guy running at you that fast, he just like froze up a little bit. And I don't think Dalton knew what to do. He was just like, I just got to take this. Got to take this hit.
Yep. It's just, what am I going to do? I'm just going to lay down now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think really, we touched on it a bit earlier in the day. Bringing in some sort of interior defensive guy to help shore up the run defense. But I mean, yeah, because the problem is like Dexter and Billings have been very good across the board, both in the pass rush and right middle of the road in terms of their run defense. It's everyone else behind him that has been lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
We brought in a guy like Chris. We traded for a guy like Chris Williams. He hasn't really done much. Zach Pickens has been hurt.
Yeah.
Brian Cowart had that one real good game in the preseason and has been kind of irrelevant after being called up from the practice squad.
Yep, I agree. But so that's why you have to rely on Zach Pickens, man. Hopefully Zach Pickens comes back healthy, and he's developed a little bit more this year. He should be a little bit stronger than he was last year. I thought he played pretty decent last year, man. He played some good games, especially going towards the end of the season. He was playing a lot better than he was early on in the year because they had him playing nose tackle more than they did 3-tech. But then towards the end of the year, they would let him go to play both positions. So I think they may just be relying on him coming back, man. But it'll be interesting to see what they do at defensive tackle when he's ready to come back because, like you say, Williams isn't playing good and Cowart isn't playing good. So one of those guys are probably going to be out because when you bring him back, you have to release a player. So I'm wondering who will be released from that interior, and maybe they don't have to go and trade for anyone if he comes back and he's playing well. Hopefully they get an opportunity to see him come back and play before the actual trade deadline approaches. So,
well, I mean, maybe it's time they finally dump Dominique Robinson. He's been an inactive player every week.
Oh my God!
So I'm not even sure how he made the roster. Period.
Listen, can we talk about guys who have made the roster who are not having any impact on this roster? Who Ryan Post, like I love Ryan Post, man, but he loves people too much, man. I think he falls in love with people as opposed to production too much for me, man. And that's a player like you just said, and Robinson, Dominic Robinson. There's no reason for us to keep Dominic Robinson on this roster, man. Like, give someone else an opportunity. We already know what we have in Dominic Robinson. Now you have Austin Booker playing over Dominic Robinson. Why do we have him on this roster then right now? Let's go and find somebody who we feel like we could develop and get some new talent in here. Same goes for guys like, I don't want Velus Jones. If we're not going to use him, then why do we keep him? Our fullback, I know he's hurt, but come on now.
That was another interesting one because I got the scratch last week. He's just coming back from injury, but this week, it just didn't make any sense. And the fact, I mean, I love Doug Kramer at fullback. Don't get me wrong, but you have a fullback already who's pretty decent at his job.
Exactly.
So why are we lining up tight ends and centers and everyone else but the fullback at fullback position?
Why did we bring him back if we're not going to use him? This is why I didn't think we were going to keep him because we're not going to use him. And that's why I was feeling like we should have kept an extra tight end as opposed to keeping the fullback because the tight end is more versatile. You can line the tight end up in the backfield and allow him to play some fullback. But this guy can also run routes and he can also inline block. That's why I was thinking like we keep one of those guys like a Sweeney who was playing well and Bates. I really like Brendan Bates. I was pretty pissed that they allowed Brendan Bates to get away.
I was kind of hoping he'd hang around.
Yeah, and he ended up getting signed by the Jets, so into their 53-man roster because he did have a pretty damn good preseason. But either here or there, I'm just wondering, like, why do we keeping players just because they've been here for a long time who haven't been productive in the past 3 years? Like, we have to move on at some point in time and identify some more talent. And same thing goes with the offensive lineman. Like, if we're not going to play Doug Kramer at center, then why are we keeping him? Allow him to try. We have Doug Kramer. We've kept him these past couple of years. I think he's stronger. I love the way he moves. Like, I think he deserves an opportunity at some point in time to figure out. We got to figure out how he plays in the NFL game against NFL talent. Like, if we're not going to do that, then why are we just keeping these guys around and not utilizing them. The same goes for all of these offensive linemen that we have. We see our offensive linemen struggling. Sometimes you got to move guys out and give other guys opportunities, and that's what I'm all about at this point. But I don't make the decisions, but that's just how I feel. I just have to get that off my chest.
No, it's understandable. I mean, like you said, there's certain guys on there that just I don't know why they're there.
Mhm.
I slightly disagree with Velus Jones just because I see him having other uses on the roster. Like you said, he
Mhm.
can be an emergency running back to the point where you may not need a guy like Khalil Herbert anymore. He can take over
Mhm.
like that kind of speed, back that we don't really. I mean, DeAndre Swift is fairly fast, but Velus is faster, and
Yeah.
Roshan is just I'm just going to cannonball through you. So
Mhm.
they all serve a purpose, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
weird that you benched him after the one muffed kick, and that was 4 weeks ago.
Yep, that was 4 weeks ago. Like if you don't trust them, then you don't need them on your roster. Then if it's a lack of trust, if you just don't want them, then you just let them go. That's how I'm starting to feel. Like just let guys go that you don't want. Let's not holding him hostage as well. Like I feel bad for Vegas at this point in time. Like maybe he does need to change of scenery, but I would have liked to see him at running back. I may not trust him in the kick return game, but at running back, I may have given him some opportunities, especially this week when you have a big lead, and that's allow him to get his confidence up and get some opportunities to run against against a starting defense and just see how he does. Like those are things we have to start doing, man, that we don't do as a team. Is develop guys. Like that's not wait until someone gets hurt to bring Velus up and say, all right, Velus, you're up now. But he hasn't had the opportunity to actually play to prepare himself to be able to play well. It's like they're setting him up for failure when he does get the opportunity, or if he is needed. So let's not do that.
Yeah,
That's more so coaching, I guess.
yeah, no, and I think Will was the one that brought up Tyler Scott earlier. It seems like he might
Another
be
one.
only around for the kickoffs, and that's it.
Another one. Yep.
Because I mean, he's not even seeing the field over a guy like DeAndre Carter.
Yep. Carter's got
I
way
mean, it
more
looks like
opportunities.
the usage of Carter went down this week a little bit with the return of Keenan Allen, but you can still see him on the field a hell of a lot more on passing downs than you would say at Tyler Scott.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, it's all about what the coaches have to say and whatever their plan is or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll
Lack
never know.
thereof, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I like Eberflus, but you won a game you should have won. Congrats. Let's see what you do
Mm-hmm.
on games that you may not have such of a cakewalk going in.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
this is we're in an extremely competitive division, but not only is it extremely competitive, it's extremely well coached. Every other team in our division is extremely well coached at this point in time. I didn't like. Now I've always liked Kevin O'Connell, and that guy in Green Bay he's pretty damn good, but I can't even think of his name. The coach of the Lions. I didn't believe in that guy when he
Dan
first came.
Campbell.
Dan Campbell. I did not believe Dan Campbell was going to be a good coach, man. But he keeps those guys motivated, man. He makes good decisions during the game. You can tell he's in the game. You know what I mean? He's the manager of the team. He's not trying to do more on one side of the ball. Like he manages the team extremely well, and his players believe in him, and he keeps them motivated, and he makes good decisions. And again, he's aggressive. He's decided he's going to be aggressive, and his team is backing him up. His coaches and team are backing him up, and they're making him look right. Shit, more times than not in those situations. So yeah, they're living and dying by it, but they're doing pretty damn good the past 2 years doing that. But so when we get to those games, I'll be interested in seeing what the difference in coaching looks like, because it's going to come down to some critical coaching decisions that are going to have to be made later in the season.
Yeah, and I was having a discussion with some troll on X today, and they're like, "Well, I don't care about those other divisions. I only care about the NFC North." And they're like, "Well," because we were discussing Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. And they're like, well, what happens that you're in the basement of the NFC North? That's a good place to be, considering your record's 3-2. which is better than the Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Rams, Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
Bears
all these
look-
teams. All these
Record is
teams
tough.
that were, considered perennial playoff contenders. And you also have the same record as the Seahawks, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the Atlanta Falcons, the Packers. So, and even the Pittsburgh Steelers, who can somehow do no wrong in the eyes of Chris Collinsworth and the rest of the NFL now.
Right? Those are the darlings of the NFL. You know that.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh and Kansas City, the Ravens, like those teams can do no wrong, really, man. Those are always going to be the darlings of the NFL.
Yeah, the thing is, we're not all like Kansas City where we can have our personal referee corps follow us around. Exactly. And basically, when the game gets tough, throw a magical flag that makes everything go away.
Mm-hmm. Can't breathe on the quarterback, any of that stuff. He can't. Yeah. Their offensive linemen can jump off sides all the time or false start all the time, all type of stuff they get away with, and they get the weirdest calls. But hey, we're the Bears. We don't get any calls, man. We got to fight, scratch, and claw our way to wins. And, the past couple weeks, we've been able to get good wins. We've been doing just that. And I think our defense is going to get even better as the year goes on. And this offense, we've seen start to make strides. That's all that I'm concerned about right now is that they continue to make strides. I think Shane Waldron did a good job this week with play calling other than that 4th and 1. I thought that, he had some pretty damn good play calls,
Yeah. Just look at the route tree for DJ Moore on Next Gen Stats as it progresses throughout the first 5 weeks. You can see a definite upswing in his usage and the changing of his routes. Yep. So there's that. Yep. And, Jigsaw brings up the comment, I'm more worried about the Vikings than I am the Lions and Green Bay. And I don't know if you get a chance to watch the game yesterday between the Jets and the Vikings. Yeah, that game made them look beatable. Let's put it that way.
They look beatable in that game. I agree. They weren't their best in that game against Aaron Rodgers. The defense is playing well, but offensively, they kind of struggled. They struggled against a pretty good defense, which makes me feel like, we can compete with them. We can match up against them. We just got to turn that aggression against them. They're a really aggressive defense. Like, we have to be prepared for that offensively, to protect Caleb Williams. But I think he's going to beat that blitz. Like, his quick release and now his recognition of those blitzes. Like, I think through this past week, they say he's the top-rated quarterback against the blitz for the past 2 weeks, over the past 2 weeks.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so that's saying something for a rookie quarterback who teams are dialing it up against on a weekly basis to in his 5th week be able to identify the blitz and beat the blitz. He's hitting check downs, but he's still in yards that way. He's getting us in advantageous situations and not taking those big sacks or taking hits himself and all that stuff as he was the first couple of weeks. So I think when we get there, we'll be prepared for them, man. I'm always wary of teams that hit the ground running from the beginning of the season because, there's only one way to go. It's down.
Exactly.
If you can't get better, you're getting worse. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. If you feel like, and I feel like they peaked too early. If that's a thing. Yeah. I think they peaked too early. They came out, they hit the ground running offensively and defensively. And, as the season goes on, those expectations get bigger and bigger. And, they're not going to be able to keep that up for the entire season. We know that. It's still the Vikings. They have to – right now they just lost their running back. So that's going to hurt them offensively.
Do they know how long he's out for? Because I have him on my fantasy team, so I got to know if I got to dump him or not.
I have him too, so I didn't even want to look it up yet. I'm just like, dang. Yeah, I have him too in one of my leagues.
So I looked up and saw he was out. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, it sucks. But, hey, I think the Bears have been – we've been pretty lucky when it comes to health. Like, we haven't had any players that significant players to go down.
Yeah, at least for long periods of time. You had
For
the
long
injury,
periods
the
of
groin
time.
injury to Zach Pickens, but he's essentially a backup.
Mhm.
Tevin Jenkins hasn't missed any games. He's left games,
Yep.
but he's able to start them. So
Mhm.
at least there's that.
Yeah. I mean, our offensive line is just a rotating door anyway. So, I mean, that door, it's a revolving door, guys going in and out of there all the time. So, until we get that solidified over the next year, I don't think that you can depend on any of those guys to just be there every week. But the guard, I think the two tackles, but those three interior guys, man, it just seems like they've been so interchanged every game. If we go back and look at it from game one, I think no, Shelton's been there at center the entire year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you actually look at Shelton, you had those two pressures in the first two games, and he had that really bad game in Indianapolis and against LA. He only gave up one pressure, and he gave up nothing.
Yesterday?
Sunday,
yeah.
So he did really good.
Well,
I
he's
know
getting
PFF
better.
rated him like an 83 on his pass blocking alone.
83, wow. Yeah, that is something. Yeah, I mean, Caleb had clean pockets. There were some times where I thought he held the ball too long. I'm like, Caleb, what are you doing? Like, man, this pocket is clean. And then he'll move and create pressure for himself. I'm like, well, dude, like, they did their job. They held you up for at least 4 seconds. Like, you got to find someone open when guys weren't getting open a couple plays. But overall, man, he played a damn good game still.
Yeah, no. I think Caleb finally had that game, we were all waiting for that. And some people expect it to happen on week 1. But, it's 2 300-yard games. It's nothing to sniff at, right?
No.
You're only 5 weeks in. And it took us how long? We rarely saw that. So it's something we're not used to. Not even just Justin, but Mitch and Nick Foles and Andy Dalton and everyone else that came before him.
Everyone before them, yeah. We just don't have 300-yard games. We don't have a 400-yard offensive week. Like, we don't have those like here in Chicago. Like, this is something new for us and something we can get used to. And we're not even at our best yet. So that's what makes it feel so good. Like, our offensive line is still not at its best. Our offense is not clicking on all cylinders just yet, So that's what I say about our arrow going up and was not peaking too soon. Like, by the time we get to these guys, to the meat of the schedule, to the real contenders in our division, then I think we'll be ready to compete at that point in time. We'll have everything ironed out, and hopefully, we get Bates back, and maybe he's inserted on the offensive line somewhere, either at one of the guard spots or at center, and we can just solidify this offensive line because we've seen what he can do with time. He's going to be 300 yards a week if he gets time to pass, point blank period.
And, you brought up Brian Bates, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him now that Bill Murray had such a good game in his limited time there. Because it wasn't just he was holding up and across the board in terms of running and pass blocking. He was just moving. He was everywhere. He was getting into plays. He was throwing guys down. He was jawing at the other team. When somebody got in our face, first man up, there he was.
He was the first man up. Yeah, I think they knocked Caleb down. I saw him going back Caleb. I thought that should have been a penalty too. Like, Caleb jumps in the air to jump out of bounds and the guy hits him. It's like, come on, dude. But who points up? You see Bill Murray run up and gets in the guy's face. I'm like, yeah, there we go. I like to see that.
It was interesting too because I don't know if you have access to the All 22 yet, but if you watch his very first play, you see Bill Murray, as soon as the snap, he puts his hands up real quick, puts them down, and then the guy comes charging in and it's right back up in his face. It was just an really interesting exchange to watch.
I didn't see that. I got to watch that. I got to watch him on the All 22. I thought he played well, though, man. Just a few plays that I did see. I think some people put some things on YouTube or something that I saw, too. He looks really good, man. So hopefully he gets more opportunity. Because, look, we just need to solidify this offensive line. And once we solidify that, especially the interior, we see what the results are going to be. Like, we're going to eat, baby.
Yeah, I mean, even Matt Pryor. Matt Pryor showed up. He got ejected, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
So both Murray and Pryor did really good yesterday. Given the circumstances. So, and I think Pryor's pretty much entrenched at right guard, barring injury. And
Yep.
if the thing with Tevin is this week, I think we can go in not really holding our breath of what's going to happen at left guard. We kind of have the answer in Murray right now until he proves otherwise.
Yep. Until he proves otherwise.
Coverage than they have been in previous weeks, which is really good because I was a big proponent of, hey, why are we leaving these zones wide open for guys to just grab the ball and run away?
I thought our corners had a pretty damn good game. Tyreek Stevenson, I thought was sticky in coverage this week, man. I think he had a few batted balls. Like Stevenson's had a pretty good year too, man. Like, he hasn't made a lot of plays on the ball, but he's having a pretty good year. I want to say, I think like our corners are playing really well, and we see what Jalen Johnson is, man, in the run game, coming up, making tackles like on screens, and also sticky in coverage. Like, man, our corners are solid. They are really solid. Like, and now we have the guys on the back end starting to make plays. We're having our safeties starting to make plays now. Like, man, this is a solid defense. Like I said, I didn't want to say it out loud, but I've been feeling like we have a championship caliber defense. But our offense has to keep them fresh. That's just the thing about it. Like, we can't have our defense out there after 3 and out, back to back in the games. Like, no, they're not going to hold up. They're not built for that because we don't have the depth, I don't think, for that to be able to do that. But as far as if we playing with a lead the way that we did last week, which is what I expected this offseason we would be doing, is playing with leads, and our defense would just be feasting, man, because at that point, the offense is one-dimensional. The defense is going to be rushing the passer, and those back seven guys are going to be looking for opportunities to make plays, man. Interceptions, seeing tip balls. Like, man, we should have had a fourth interception yesterday, the one that bounced off of Jonathan Owens. Like, fourth turnover, I mean. But, yeah, like, man, it's only going to get better. Having a good offense only makes our defense better. Then we know our punter is also making our defense even better because we're pinning teams so deep that it's also making them better. That's why I say we have a championship caliber defense, but the offense has to catch up. And hopefully, the arrow is going up right now. Hopefully, like I say, we get to the meat of the season, they're able to put some points up. Or just hold the ball, just hold the ball. We need those sustainable long drives. Like, that's what I liked about this past week too. There were some long drives. I like to see that. Like, that we wearing defenses out that way. You wear the defense down. Like, and the next time you get back up, because our defense gonna get on there. We're going 3 and out. So then this defense has to come right back on the field after a 13-play drive. It's like they're worn out. So now you're gonna get these opportunities to make these big plays. So hey, you just have to keep it up.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about getting the run game going, which opens up the passing game, which continues to open up in terms of like time of possession on offense. It's not just you run 2 yards and you got to throw the ball, you miss, and then you miss again, and then you're done. You're actually getting somewhere. So that's going to help everyone across the board. Trying to think what else. I mean, I'm not going to say that we're a Super Bowl team this year. That's not possible.
No.
If it happens, I'll eat my hat. But
that's
don't
a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream, but it's a pipe dream. But we can win a playoff game. I feel like we're a team that can win a playoff game.
I mean, I
get into the playoffs. We can win at least one playoff game. And then once you win that first playoff game, that second playoff game, you're in a dog fight. Who knows what happens? Like, I feel like our defense can play well. It's just the offense, man. We have to be consistent. You have to get some consistency from our offense. The defense is ready.
Well, I mean, I think we've seen, 3 weeks now in a row where the completion percentage of Caleb Williams has gone up. It honestly should have been a lot closer to what it was last week. This week, But DJ Moore had that real big drop on that wide open play. I know he berated himself about it, but that's stuff you got to make.
Yeah,
I can give you grace on a drop where a guy's covering you or something like that, but on a play where all you do is chomp in the air, come on. But
that was a third down too. That's what was
be
pissy about it. I'm like, this is a third down play. If it was second down, I might not be as mad. I was kind of pissed about that. Like, you're having a great game, but come on, dog. Come on, big dog.
Yeah, because I felt like there were a few just key mistakes that kind of torpedo drives that were going fairly well. So that's something that they got to work on. I'm sure they have already started on that. It seems like a team that's not afraid to discuss things with one another.
Yep, and that's why I like that. That's why I'm not upset that it happened in a big win like this, because now you got stuff you got to work on. Now you don't feel like you arrived. I don't want them to feel like they've arrived. I want them to have stuff to go back and say, yeah, we did this, but this fourth down play, like, come on, dog, we got to block this better. Like, come on now. Or coach, you got to call something better than this. Like, give me an RPO in that situation. Like, that's not just call a run, an all-out run, especially if it's not if the numbers don't match, if the numbers don't make sense. If that defensive end is crashing down, then give Caleb the option to pass in some of those situations. Or run it himself, or even run it himself in some of those situations. So, give him some options, and that will allow him to make the decision as to what happens in that situation.
Yeah, and I think the main thing we could take from this game, and to let everyone know in the chat about it, is the team has, like we spoke last week, finally turned that corner. We've now put together 2 decent games, and we're going to be ready to roll. And Jacksonville got lucky this Sunday.
I'm glad they did. Glad they did. Because now we don't take them for granted. Now we can't take them for granted because they just beat someone. That's another thing. Like, we don't want to be. I don't want us to look and take anybody for granted and say that that's the easy win. We're going down, so we're going to London. We're getting there early. We're gonna go kick it a little bit. Then we're gonna go beat this team. No, they just beat somebody. They just beat a team that beat us. At that, they beat the team that beat us. So we got to be prepared for these guys.
Yeah, we've been perfect at home so far this year. I think we have the longest streak in the NFL in terms of home wins, like 8.
Yeah, yep.
So
that's crazy.
Crazy. Now we got to show we can do it on the road.
Yep.
And I think, do they credit us as the home team for this game, or?
I think we're the home team, because I saw versus the Bears. I saw Jaguars versus Bears, so we're officially the home team for this game. And I'm sure we'll have home field advantage because, Bears fans travel really well. I think much better than Jacksonville Jaguars fans do. Although the Jacksonville Jaguars play in London like at least once a year for the past 10 years or so. So, hey.
I mean, the interesting thing about playing in London is, at least in the crowd, you can see pretty much jerseys from every team in the NFL.
Every team, yep, yeah. So they don't pretty much care. They don't care who wins or loses. They're just there to have a good time.
Yeah.
So I don't see them cheering for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They don't cheer for the Bears when they see how we kick their ass.
Exactly. I think if they come out firing like they did this week, and even if they go on a run like they did in that third quarter where they weren't even running the ball, they were just going empty set in the back and just, hey, the passing game's working, let's do it.
Yep, I like that. I like that we scored too right before the half. Like, that was important, man. I thought that was a great drive orchestrated by Caleb with little time. That 2-minute drive was, man, that's what made me feel like, all right, now he's arrived. Like, Caleb he's ready now. Like, he's starting to dink and dunk. He's taking what the defense gives him. But that pass to DJ Moore in the end zone up the seam, like, that was crazy. Where he's looking to safety off to the right, comes back left, and just guns it in the perfect position. I'm just like, oh, yeah, he's ready. He's ready. He's ready. He's ready right now. Like, this is about to turn around for us. Now Shane Waldron just has to not get in the way. Don't mess this up because the kid is ready. The kid is ready. Like, we have to maintain these good game plans continue to run the ball and play action and just this up tempo stuff. Keep doing what works.
You know what, Samuel? Speaking of that play, I got that right here actually.
Man, this was pretty. That was a pretty ball. Look how the ball was. I was like, oh my goodness. That was pretty. With a guy on his back, too. It was like the perfect position. I know Will was talking about this, but yeah, he just puts the ball in perfect position. Like, he's not only is he accurate, he's putting the ball in perfect position to allow guys to catch the ball with the least contested situation. Like, if you got a guy on my hip, now he's putting it out in front of me so I can reach and grab the ball and keep going, as opposed to putting it in my stomach where a guy can have the opportunity to knock the ball down and stuff like that. Like that, all that stuff matters. Those little nuances, like that stuff is, DB had no chance, like Leo Factor says, to making that play. Only if DJ didn't catch it, it was going out of bounds. It was just that simple.
Yeah, so now we're going about an hour and a half here. I think we've gotten pretty much everything covered for this game. So anything else you want to say before we sign off tonight?
Hey, bear down, baby. Enjoy this win. Looking forward to next week's win, hopefully. I'm happy they're getting down there early. We'll talk about it on Thursday. Make sure you guys set your notification bells. I'm sure we're going to go ahead and do another show on Thursday to talk about these Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, it's Will's birthday. He wants to do a show. I think we can accommodate him for that.
For sure.
And then we'll go into Sunday morning, get some breakfast, and Terry will be in London watching the game, so maybe we'll get a little insider info from him.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad to know he's down in Florida now. He unfortunately couldn't make it list tonight because everything's going on that's down there, and with Hurricane Milton showing up in the next couple of days.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, right? Man, back-to-back hurricanes hitting the country, but man.
Yeah,
praying for those guys, man. Hopefully everything works out and it's not as bad as they think it's going to be. Like, I think it's going to be a Category 3 by the time it hits the coast of Florida, and it's supposed to die down at that point in time. So hopefully it's not as bad as this last one.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Leo Factor, it's been great to talk to you again. Jigsaw, Aunt Miss is in here. Swifty showed up for a little bit. It looks like. Always glad to see him. Billy Ocean, my boy Plank, Hendricks, Big Chief Peacock. It's great for all you guys coming out. It's a small crowd, but we love talking with you, and we're always going to be here for you. So,
yes, sir.
I think I'm going to put together some Bill Murray stuff for you all over the next day or two. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, just like the video, comment, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, show your friends, because we want to have these conversations with you and everyone else. But good night, guys. We had a great time. Enjoyed the camaraderie. And until next time,